Paralives Development Showcase has just dropped along with their new developer chat. They have shared with us that during February 2025, they have created new clothing and accessories for the Paramaker, created new furniture and objects for the build mode, created animation variations based on the personality and current emotions, worked on the layout and terrain of the town, added more jobs and career paths, improved gameplay systems around social interactions and relationships, added more social interactions to the game, improved the code for characters performing various interactions in solo or as a group, worked on sound effects for the live mode, worked on new music for the game, shared interactions and animations that they made for babies and toddlers, shared a look at clothing as decor items, shared a funny bug, and shared a showcase of strange objects in Paralives. Moving over to the developer weekly chat from the 7th of February 2025, the community's choice question is by Wicked Brony, who asks, I have a question about pregnant parafolk. Will their bellies grow gradually or will they get little growth spurts? Alex says right now it works by little growth spurts, but it looks gradual overall, so it works well. Moving to general questions, Kira says that they would love to see a Patreon post of the entire life cycle of creating an object and putting it in the game. They say it could be a simple cube object, how, where it's made, adding color variants, adding it to a category, making it so that a para can sit on it, and then actually adding it into the game. And Alex says that that is a great idea, and they might do it eventually and have it serve as a guide for future modders. Bin Chicken wants to know if there will be tattoo studios at some point, and if so, will they make sure that the artist wears gloves? Anna says that it's not planned at the moment, but she wishes that it was because she loves tattoos. She says that if they do add active tattoo studios at some point, she will make sure that the tattoo artist wears gloves. Wicked Brony has an early access question and says, when Paralives comes out of early access, will it remain PC exclusive, or is it possible that sometime in the future you might bring it to consoles such as Switch 2? And Gav has responded to this and says that while it would be really fun to port Paralives to consoles, it is not in their plans for the foreseeable future. They go on to say that once the team has more time and resources, they would love to consider it, but it's much too early to confirm anything. Calamity is passing a question on from Devin and Amor, and their question is, we know we can pose our paras in the camera mode, but will we also be able to have a two para pose? For example, a para holding a toddler or two paras hugging. And Jeremy's answered this one and says that it will be possible to manually place paras around for two character poses, but it will be a bit finicky because you need to position them yourself. Automatic setup of multi-character scenes will probably not be available at launch because they still need to do some tweaks to the photo mode, but such a feature might be a bit too complicated for the time they want to spend on that bit of the game before early access is released. He says that's something that could be fun to add afterwards though. Indy has a question from Azri, who wants to know, how does the game handle crowds in some place in the town? And Alex has responded to this and says, we still have work left to do in how townies will autonomously act around the town and gather in public places. He says that the goal is to have NPC characters autonomously decide to visit certain public lots based on their schedules and different conditions. On a given lot, some NPCs could decide to gather around a musician playing there, for instance, or there could be a cafe where they can gather to talk. Characters interacting together will be positioned using Richard's social cluster system that they have talked about in previous patron posts. Unfortunately, these patron posts are currently locked and have not been made public. But I will still put the links in the description of this video for those of you who are able to access them. Moving on to the devs questions. I don't normally go through these because they're usually just, how was your week? And simple questions like that have nothing to do with the game. But Aki has asked if everyone is ready for early release or early access. And Jeremy has responded that they're still on track for their 2025 release window, which is awesome. So we will be getting Paralives sometime in 2025. Moving down to Interago's dev question. Can you name one thing that annoys you in a game or gaming in general that you're trying to avoid with Paralives? Chloe says, what annoys me is tough fights that I keep having to replay over and over to beat. I think it's obvious, but it shouldn't be an issue in Paralives. Andre says the fact that the moment you start playing after you told yourself that it will only be 30 minutes because you have so many things to do and want to be a responsible adult, and then you find yourself at 3 a.m. still playing for some obscure reason and realize that you haven't eaten, you haven't done any chores, and you didn't touch grass the whole day, but at least you got so far in your game. That won't be a problem with Paralives though, right? Alejandro responds, I really dislike when a UI is hard to navigate or is unintuitive. I've been playing Indiana Jones and I'm loving the game, but for some reason, I just can't handle the UI. I'm always opening the wrong window when I want to close UI. Escape puts the menu on. I don't know, maybe it's just me. So hopefully Paralives will not have that type of problem with its UI. Moving to the live mode question. Ben Chicken wants to know if they have any plans to add anything silly and unrealistic to the game. And Jeremy has responded that many things in games are silly and unrealistic by their very natures. The fast lives our characters go through makes realism difficult to achieve. More seriously, he says, if you mean goofy items or unexpected situations, we'll try to have these peppered in around the game judiciously, for sure. Draven Sable wants to know, will there be work-from-home jobs in Paralives? And Jeremy has responded, it's not planned for the early access launch. You might be able to sell paintings or other items that you've created, and some jobs might give you tasks to do after you've come back home, but all jobs that you'll get around town will be at various buildings around town and not done from home. Draven Sable also asks, will there be ghosts in Paralives, and will they be playable if so? And Jeremy has responded, we want to make a game more grounded in reality, so we do not plan to have any kind of paranormal creatures in the game, including friendly spooky spirits. Another question from Draven Sable, who says, will there be a criminal career for evil paras? And Anna says it's not planned right now, but there could be a career such as that as an update after early access. Iceman wants to know about teens. Will teen paras have the options to drop out of school or graduate early? And Anna says for early access, we want to stay simple for the school's design, so no, these options aren't planned yet. It could change in the future, however. Iceman has a follow-up question and says, have you thought of how a teenager's high school career could affect their adult career? Like maybe high achievers can apply for a wider range of jobs, or maybe they'll be able to negotiate for a higher starting hourly rate. And Anna again has responded and says, we have been thinking about this. I might tell you more about what we've decided in a future Patreon post, hopefully soon. But the idea is you could transfer your grades or your experience from high school into bonuses to apply to your first jobs. Moving to the build mode questions, there's only one this week, and that is by Calamity, who wants to know, will the base town have a homeless shelter? Specifically thinking of people who play at homeless paras. And Alex responded that it's not planned for now, but they do see the appeal for people who would like to play that way. And he says, we do plan on having public restrooms though. And finally, the Paramaker question, which is from Possible Assassin Nye, who has a question from Domon, who says that we've seen we can change dresses and shirts with additional details like embroidery or ties, but I was wondering if we can change the trousers and skirts the same way to incorporate different belts. And Sonia says, we're thinking about adding different belt variations for some pants or skirts, but they'll likely have to be textured in because of layering limitations. We also have pants with statement belts in planning, and these would be bigger and with volume. So my friends, please comment down below and let me know what you think of this week's developer chat and development recap for February. Stay tuned for the next Paralives news video. But until then, my friends, stay safe, and I'll see you later.